Welcome to the Phil and H Travel Podcast. Is it worth it?
We have a really fascinating one today.
We do. Today we're doing a deep dive into Genoa, Italy, specifically looking at the 2026 and 2027 travel seasons.
Right, because things are shifting rapidly.
Exactly. We are auditing a city that is basically sitting on a razor's edge between being an incredible budget secret and, well, getting completely priced out. Oh, and if you're planning a trip and want the honest, is it worth it verdict before you book, follow the show on Spotify or Apple.
So to give you some context on the source material we're looking at today, we've pulled a really comprehensive travel and budget audit.
Yeah, it covers 11 critical segments for anyone doing practical travel due diligence right.
Exactly, because this deep dive really comes down to essential tension. It's a battle of money against momentum.
Money against momentum. I like that.
Yeah, because for a long time, Genoa was just ignored. It was this major, historically significant port city, but people treated it like a flyover state on their way to Florence or Rome.
Right, they just look right past it.
But right now, it is arguably the last genuinely underpriced major city on the Italian Riviera.
Which brings us to the urgency, right? Like, why are we doing a 2026-2027 audit right now?
Because that window of value is actively slamming shut. There are three massive momentum drivers pushing the city out of the budget range, starting with the airport.
Cristoforo Colombo Airport, right.
Yeah.
Code GOA.
That's the one. They are adding a massive 10% capacity jump for the summer of 2026.
And just to unpack that for you listening, a 10% jump in direct flight capacity is a game changer.
Oh, absolutely. It removes so much friction.
Because historically you had to fly into Milan or
Yeah.
right, and then route yourself through on a train for hours.
Exactly. It took effort. Now, more direct arrivals mean a totally different volume of casual weekenders.
Which instantly drives up hotel demand.
Yeah.
What's the second driver?
The cruise terminal. They are seeing record passenger growth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, these massive ships are just flooding the old town with thousands of people at a time.
And the third one? Because I know this one is the most insidious.
The third driver is how the Regional Tourism Board is marketing the city now. They are actively packaging Genoa inside what they call a luxury corridor.
See, that right there, they're grouping it with places like Portofino and San Remo.
Exactly. And when you do that, the market adjusts.
It's like watching a value stock that's showing all the breakout indicators, right? When the tourism boards start throwing around phrases like luxury corridor, that is the ultimate leading indicator for price inflation.
It conditions the market to expect to pay more, which is why the current USD baseline costs are so shocking.
Let's unpack those numbers. Walk me through the baseline.
Okay, so right now, a budget hotel or guest house will run you about $69 to $88 a night.
Wait, really? Under 90 bucks?
Under 90 bucks. And the mid-range double room, the sweet spot, is around $89 base.
That's incredible.
Yeah, or if you want a really central location and guaranteed breakfast, you max out at maybe $192.
Which is still basically half of what you'd pay down the coast.
Easily. If you look at comparable nights in the Cinque Terre or Portofino, you are instantly doubling those figures.
Okay, what about food and getting around?
Dining out at a casual place is about $22 per person per meal. And the Volabus, the airport shuttle, is just $5.50 if you buy it online.
So if you're doing a one-week solo trip, what's the all-in rough estimate?
Roughly $1,139 all in.
That is just, I mean, for the Italian Riviera, that's almost mathematically impossible to find anymore.
It really is. But before we tell everyone to book a flight, we have to issue a massive warning.
The skip-if warning. Because honestly, some people listening will absolutely hate this city.
Oh, totally. If you are expecting a polished, pristine center like a Florence-style open-air museum, skip Genoa.
Right. Or a pure beach holiday.
Definitely skip it. The core of Genoa, which is called the Carughi, is essentially a dense, gritty, medieval maze.
It's authentic, but it is not sanitized for tourists at all.
Not even a little bit. It's a working port city.
Okay, so since that value window is closing, we need to talk about when to go. If you are going to brave the Carughi, how do you maximize the experience?
It really comes down to seasonal breakdowns and managing the physical climate of those alleys. The absolute best times to go are May, June, and especially September.
Why September specifically?
Well, the temperatures are in the 70s Fahrenheit, so it's comfortable. The sea is still warm from the summer heat, but the air is cooler. And crucially, The intense summer cruise schedules start to ease up.
Okay, so what about the shoulder seasons, like April and October?
The value there is amazing. That mid-range room drops down to maybe $70 or $80 a night.
There's always a but with shoulder season.
But you run a very high risk of heavy downpours. Genoa is trapped between the mountains and the sea, so when it rains, it really rains.
That makes sense. Let's talk about the worst times to go, because I think July and August sound pretty miserable in a stone maze.
Miserable is the exact word. In July and August, those deep alleys block the wind but trap the heat. It becomes this airless, suffocating humidity.
So you absolutely need AC.
You need it confirmed in writing before you book. A lot of historic buildings just give you a desk fan.
That sounds brutal. What about the winter, November to February?
Well, the rooms drop under $60 a night.
Okay, so if I'm a budget traveler and I'm forced to go in November to get that $60 room, am I essentially buying a completely different, much wetter vacation?
You are. The days are short, it rains a lot, and the vibrant street life just kind of shutters and goes indoors. It's not the classic Italian experience you're probably picturing.
Right. Now, aside from the weather, the other thing dictating when you go is the crowds. And the crowds here are super unique.
Highly unique. In Rome or Venice, you have a steady stream of tourists all day. In Genoa, the crowds are almost entirely cruise-driven.
So it's like a tidal wave.
Exactly. The passenger surge hits mid-morning and lasts until mid-afternoon.
Where does this tidal wave hit the hardest?
The affected zones are very specific. The Porto Antico Boardwalk, Via San Lorenzo, Piazza de Ferrari, the Acquario di Genova, and Via Garibaldi.
So basically all the major marquee spots.
Yeah, they get absolutely hammered for about 4 hours.
Are there any safe havens during that surge?
Yes. The cruise crowds rarely venture deep into the true alleys. If you go to Via di Sotoripa or Piazza della Erba, it stays remarkably local.
And there's an exception at sunset, right?
Yeah, Boccadas.
Right, Boca d'Asc.
Yeah.
It's a tiny, picturesque fishing village area in the city. It gets incredibly crowded at sunset, but it's not cruise passengers. It's a massive local gelato crowd.
Which is a totally different, much better vibe.
Exactly.
So the actionable advice here for you, if you're planning your days, is to do your tourist wandering and visit the aquarium post 4 p.m., right?
100%. Let the ships recall their passengers and then take the city back. And if you're aiming for summer, lock in those accommodations 2 to 3 months out.
Okay, so you've timed the trip perfectly. You land. Let's talk about what happens the minute you arrive because we need to cover the friction of logistics.
Logistics here are fascinating. If you arrive by air at Cristoforo Colombo, the Volabus is a massive logistical win. This is the shuttle we mentioned earlier, right? The 551.
Yeah. If you buy it on the AMT Transit app, it's about $5.50. If you buy it at a kiosk or on board, it's roughly $6.60.
But the real value add isn't just the ride from the airport.
No. The crucial value add is that the fare includes 60 minutes of unlimited access to the entire urban transit network.
Wait, so the bus, the metro, the funiculars, the public lifts all of it?
All of it. The shuttle takes about 30 minutes, stops at the major hubs like Principe Station, De Ferrari, and Brignoles, and from there you can use your remaining time to transfer right to your hotel.
That is incredibly efficient. It runs often.
Yeah, 5 a.m. to midnight, doing about 26 runs a day.
Okay, but what if you're not solo? What if you have a family?
Then you look at the taxi comparison. A taxi from the airport into the center is a flat rate of $27.50 for up to 3 people.
Which, honestly, if you have tired kids and bags, is probably the better play.
Oh, absolutely. The shuttle wins for solos and couples, but taxis are better for families.
What if you're arriving by train? Because a lot of people just route down from Milan.
Arrival by train puts you right in the thick of it. The 2 main stations, Principe and Brignoles, are incredibly central.
But this is where people hit a wall, literally. The vertical geography.
Yes, the map of Genoa is incredibly deceptive.
It's a total optical illusion.
Yeah.
I always tell people, close, horizontally on your phone map might actually mean a massive vertical climb in reality. You absolutely cannot assume flat walking in this city.
You really can't. The city is wedged between the sea and steep hillsides. You might look at your hotel and think it's a 5-minute walk from the station, but it's actually up a 45-degree stone staircase.
Which is brutal with rolling luggage.
And that leads right into the first impression you get when you step out of the station. It's just a shock.
A shock in what way?
The sheer scale of the medieval center. It's sprawling and it's full of unstaged, completely authentic Italian street life. It can be overwhelming.
Which perfectly brings us to our next segment, accommodation zones. You've navigated the vertical map, you're overwhelmed. Where's the absolute smartest place to drop your bags?
It entirely depends on your traveler profile. Our source data breaks this down into 4 very detailed types.
Let's start with the backpacker or budget traveler.
For the budget crowd, you want to base yourself near Piazza Principe. You can get a dorm or a very basic room for $30 to $55 a night, or a standard budget hotel for $69 to $88.
Okay, but what's the catch? Because there's always a trade-off.
The trade-off is a much grittier walk home. You're bordering areas near Via Pre and the lower Maddalena, which get very rough around the edges at night.
So let me ask you this. If we are telling people to chase value in this deep dive, is the $30 backpacker savings really worth that rougher walk home in the dark?
For a seasoned backpacker, yes. For someone who gets anxious in dark, unlit alleys, no. It's not worth the stress.
Fair enough. What's the second profile?
The mid-range couple. This is honestly the sweet spot of the entire city.
Where should they stay?
Target the areas around Piazza de Ferrari, Via XX Settembre, or near Brignoles Station.
And what's the cost there?
It averages about $89, but can flex up to $110 or $150 for something really nice with reliable AC.
And the trade-off?
The trade-off is that you are slightly removed from the deep atmospheric alleyways, but the massive benefit is that the area is walkable, flat, and well-lit at night.
Totally worth it, in my opinion. Okay, what about the third profile? The family.
Families need to prioritize space and AC over medieval charm. Look at the Fos district or the areas immediately around Brignoles.
You're looking at, what, maybe $140 to $220 a night?
Exactly, for larger rooms or apart-hotels.
And the trade-off there is that you're transport dependent.
Right, you'll need the bus to get to the aquarium. But the huge win is that you avoid pushing a stroller up medieval stone stairs.
Strollers on cobblestone stairs sound like an absolute nightmare.
It's the quickest way to ruin a vacation.
All right, the final profile. Luxury.
Luxury here is interesting. You're paying $200 to $350 a night for beautifully restored palazzos or high-end business hotels.
But you're not getting, like, a compound with an infinity pool.
No, there are no resort-style facilities in the city center. If you want a massive pool and a beach club, you have to go down the coast and you'll be paying double.
Good to know. Are there any universal warnings for all these zones?
Yes. Always check the walkability of your street on a map before booking. Read reviews specifically for late-night scooter noise. Remember, there is 0 central beach access. And prepare for checkout tourist taxes.
Yeah, that municipal tax always sneaks up on people. Okay, so the bags are dropped. The next mission is eating. And the audit makes a very strong case that Genoa's food scene is arguably its strongest value proposition.
It really is. The culinary history here is unbelievable.
Give me the Genoese menu. What are we eating?
You are eating authentic pesto alla genovese, fresh focaccia, something called farinata, which is this amazing savory chickpea flatbread, and fresh trophy pasta.
Okay, I'm hungry. Where is the key geography for this food?
The epicenter for produce and grabbing a quick bite is the Mercato Orientale on Via XX Settembre. It has a great food hall.
What about for the traditional stuff?
For traditional farinata, you have to go to a place called Antica Sciamada on Via San Giorgio. It's historic. And for fried seafood, you walk under the arcades of Via di Soltaripa.
And if you just need basics for an apartment?
There are Basco and Carrefour Express supermarkets tucked right into the center.
Okay, I want you to deeply unpack the USD price sheet here because these numbers are wild.
They really are. A massive wedge of fresh focaccia from a bakery is about €2, so roughly $2.20.
Insane coffee.
An espresso is $1.30 to $1.70. A cappuccino is about $1.80.
Wait, under $2 for a cappuccino?
Yes. Water from a shop is under $1. A local beer in a piazza will run you $5 to $7.
Okay, what about actual meals?
If you go to a local trattoria for pasta or farinata, it's $9 to $13 a plate. A full casual meal is about $22. And a really nice dinner with a great bottle of regional wine is only $35 to $45 a head.
That is just, you cannot find that in Florence anymore. But these prices come with some strict etiquette quirks that trip people up, right?
Oh, absolutely. First, you have to drink your coffee standing at the bar. If you sit at a table, the price skyrockets.
Right. And then there's the Caperto.
Yes, the cover charge. It is totally normal. It is not a scam. It's just a few euros added to the bill for the bread and the table setting.
Which means tipping is different, too.
Exactly. You don't leave 20%. Tipping is just rounding up the bill by €1 or €2.
We also need to mention the hours.
Lunch and dinner hours are very strict. The kitchens close mid-afternoon. If you want a late lunch at 3:30 p.m., you're out of luck.
I want to emphasize an observation from the source material that I thought was brilliant. It said, pesto travels badly.
It's so true.
It's a hyper-local experience. The basil, the local oil, you just can't export it in a jar and expect it to taste the same. You have to eat it there.
Exactly.
Okay, so we know the individual costs, but how fast does your daily burn rate stack up? Let's run the exact budget ladders for these traveler profiles.
Okay, so the overall baseline average across all types is about $163 a day.
Break that down for me.
That's roughly $55 for meals, $9.45 for transport, $21 for entertainment, and the rest on your $89 to $192 hotel.
Let's do the 5 budget ladders, detailing every figure, starting with the backpacker.
The backpacker is spending between $75 and $105 a day.
That's tight but doable. How?
Hotel is $30 to $55, food is $18 to $28, transport is just $5 to $8, attractions are $8 to $15, and you leave an $8 to $10 buffer.
What's the overrun risk for a backpacker? Where do they blow the budget?
The bars down at the Porto Antico. They're priced for cruise passengers.
Ah, got it. Ladder 2, mid-range.
Midrange runs $150 to $200 a day. Hotel is $55 to $90 per person, assuming you share a room. Food is $45 to $65.
Transport.
$10 to $18. Attractions are $20 to $35 with a $15 to $20 buffer.
And the overrun risk there.
The aquarium ticket, which is pricey, and coastal trains.
Yeah, let me ask you about that. Why do people consistently underestimate the coastal day trips? Are we just viewing Genoa purely as a launch pad and forgetting the commuter tax?
That's exactly it. People think, oh, I'll just zip over to Camogli for lunch. But you do that 3 times, and suddenly you've spent $60 on regional trains that wasn't in your budget.
It adds up fast.
Yeah.
Okay, ladder 3, the family. 2 adults, 2 kids.
This is a jump. You're looking at $320 to $460 a day total for the family, or roughly $2,200 to $3,200 a week.
Where's that money going?
Hotel is $140 to $220. Food is $90 to $130 for all 4 of you. Transport is $20 to $35. Attractions spike to $50 to $90.
And the shot cost.
The aquarium. You absolutely must book that online in advance to save money and skip the massive lines.
Right. Ladder 4, luxury.
Luxury sits between $300 and $500 a day per person.
Still really reasonable for luxury.
Totally. Hotel is $200 to $350. Food is $80 to $130. You're doing private transfers for $30 to $60 and unique experiences for $60 to $120.
And finally, ladder 5, the digital nomad.
Nomads are looking at $1,800 to $2,900 a month. The sweet spot is right around $2,400.
Which covers what?
Rent is $900 to $1,600. Food is $450 to $700. Transport is $40 to $55. Co-working spaces run $100 to $200, and you keep a buffer of about $150 to $250.
That $2,400 sweet spot is incredibly appealing for a month in Italy.
It really is.
But a budget only works if you don't fall into the traps that drain your wallet and your patience. And the audit identified 3 very specifically named logistics traps.
These are critical. Trap 1 is the cruise morning crush.
Talk about the mechanism of this trap.
The mechanism is that thousands of people disembark into a very narrow corridor for just 3 or 4 hours.
And the penalty for you, the traveler.
You lose an hour queuing in the sun,
Right.
and you end up paying $15 to $25 extra per head for a really rushed lunch nearby.
It's a huge waste of time and money. What's the fix?
Buy timed aquarium tickets online and do your sightseeing in that specific zone strictly after 4 p.m.
Perfect. Trap 2 is a Karugi navigation and nightfall trap.
Right. The mechanism here is that your GPS will fail. The alleys are too dense and the stone walls block the signal.
And during the day, getting lost is charming, but at night...
At night, the lower alleys like Maddalena, Via Pre, and Barcina get very seedy.
So the penalty is what? Pickpockets?
Pickpockets and just generally feeling unsafe or intimidated.
The fix here is to download offline maps and stick to the main illuminated streets like Via San Lorenzo, Garibaldi, and San Bernardo, right?
Exactly. Don't rely on a live cell signal.
I always treat navigating Genoa like a video game. Like, during the daytime, the routes are totally safe, you can explore everywhere, but the map fundamentally changes its rules after 10 p.m.
That's a great way to think about it. The safe zones just shrink.
Okay, trap 3, the the vertical city walking illusion.
We touched on this. The mechanism is looking at a map and seeing a destination is 600 meters away, but not realizing it's a sheer staircase.
The penalty there is just physical exhaustion, right?
Exhaustion, and then wasting $10 to $15 on a short taxi ride out of sheer frustration because you can't walk another step.
And the fix is to use the AMT funiculars in public lifts, because they are included in your transit ticket anyway.
Exactly. Let the machinery do the climbing.
Expanding on that second trap, we really need to look at the concrete realities of safety, particularly for solo travelers.
This is so important. The risk profile of Genoa is very specific. Crime here is petty and geographic, not violent.
Geographic meaning it happens in very specific pockets.
Exactly. Pickpockets and bag snatches in certain alleys, not armed muggings in the main squares.
Let's talk about solo female travel. What is the reality?
Broadly, it is totally fine by day. You can explore freely.
But at night?
At night, solo females should actively avoid the Lower Maddalena, Via Pre, Via del Campo, and the Darsena Fringe.
Because of the vibe.
Yes, it has a red light, rough sleeping character. There is catcalling. It feels uncomfortable.
So the fix is pure route management.
Base yourself in the upper or eastern parts of the city and strictly walk home along the main well-lit spines.
What about scams?
The usual suspects. Friendship bracelet guys near the port, unmetered taxis always insist on the meter or agree on the fixed rate beforehand, and inflated bills at the Porto Antico restaurants.
And health, if someone gets sick.
Excellent access. The San Martino Hospital Complex is world-class.
Okay, so the expert analysis here is really that the discomfort is manageable and strictly route-based. You are managing where you walk, not an inherent danger to your person.
Exactly. It's about situational awareness.
So having survived the logistics, the alleys, the vertical climbs, what are the ultimate highs and the crushing lows of the actual experience? Let's start with the highs. What genuinely works in this city?
The architecture is stunning. The Via Garibaldi Roli palaces are a massive high. You can get a combined ticket for $10 to $15 to see Palazzo Rosso, Bianco, and Doria Terzi.
That is an unbelievable bargain for that level of art and history.
It really is. Other highs. The Acquario di Genova, if you pay the $30 to $37 for an online ticket, evening drinks in Piazza degli Erbi.
Grabbing that sunset gelato in Bocadas.
Yes, and just using the city as a cheap train base for the Cinque Terre and Portofino.
Okay, lay it on me. The honest disappointments. What should people skip?
You have to prepare for the grim alleys. There is litter, there is graffiti. It is part of the reality.
In the beach situation.
Right. The port is not a swimming beach. It's industrial.
Oh.
The aquarium crowds at midday are awful. The Bago panoramic lift is totally skippable. You pay for a view you can get for free from the public lifts. And honestly, Genoa in the rain loses almost all its magic.
I think the golden rule of Genoa is that the best parts of the city are cheap. And the biggest disappointments are usually the things you overpaid for.
That is spot on.
So if the disappointments list the lack of beaches, the gritty alleys sounded like absolute deal breakers for you, where should you pivot? The audit lists 2 alternatives.
Alternative 1 is Turin.
Tell me about Turin.
Turin's profile is very different. It's highly orderly, full of beautiful arcades, and mostly flat. It has world-class museums, like the Egyptian Museum and the Cinema Museum, and the aperitivo scene is incredible.
But it has a major drawback for coastal lovers.
Right. There is no coast whatsoever. It's landlocked.
How does it compare on cost?
It's within 10 to 15% of Genoa. You're looking at $150 to $200 a day.
So your expert take on Turin.
Choose Turin if you want the underrated Italy value, but you need polished elegance rather than chaotic charm.
What's the second alternative?
La Spezia.
Ah, the direct competitor.
Exactly. It's known as the cheap Cinque Terre gateway.
What's the cost profile there?
Similar to Genoa, maybe slightly cheaper. Around $120 to $170 a day.
So why not just go to La Spezia?
Because my expert take is that you should choose La Spezia only if you want to completely minimize your train time to the Cinque Terre. Genoa vastly outperforms it in every other way. Culture, food, scale. La Spezia is just a utilitarian base.
Okay, we have arrived at the ultimate mission of the deep dive, the Is It Worth It matrix. We're going to do rapid fire verdicts by traveler type. Ready?
Let's do it.
Backpacker.
9 out of 10. Unbeatable value from $75 a day. Base yourself near Principe, eat local street food, and it's a massive win.
Midrange.
8.5 out of 10. You get a real Italian city at half the Portofino price, around $150 to $200 a day. Just base yourself at De Ferrari. 7.5 out of 10. It's great for the aquarium, but it's bad for strollers in the alleys. Expect to spend $2,200 to $3,200 a week.
Luxury.
6.5 out of 10. It's a smart base, but it lacks resort polish. It's $300 to $500 a day, but skip it if you want pure glamour.
Digital nomad.
8 out of 10. The $2,400 a month sweet spot is amazing. Great connectivity, but you absolutely must negotiate your monthly rates directly.
The overall verdict from this audit is, book now, book carefully. To summarize, the 2026-27 value window is closing due to airport and cruise momentum. Avoid August. Avoid cruise mornings. It is a strong yes for budget and culture and a clear skip for beach-first travelers.
I agree, but I want to pose one final, slightly provocative thought before we go. It's not explicitly in the text, but it builds on it. It's the observer effect in travel economics.
Oh, I like where this is going.
By actively seeking out and publicizing a last value frontier like Genoa to save people money, do budget travelers inherently accelerate the very gentrification and luxury corridor price inflation they are trying to escape?
Are we the problem?
Exactly. By talking about it, are we destroying the value? It's something to think about.
If this gave you the honest verdict you needed, follow the show. New episodes drop every day. That is the honest verdict from Phil and H.